The night the song was written, the city was breathing in slow, tired rhythms, and so was Aarav. He stood at the edge of his small apartment balcony, watching distant headlights blur into one another, wondering how a heart could feel so full and so broken at the same time. The first note formed in his chest before it ever touched the piano, heavy with memories he had tried to outrun, but never escaped. Aarav had always believed love was something you gave in pieces. A smile here, a promise there, never everything. Then he met Mira, and that belief quietly collapsed. She came into his life without drama, without fireworks, just a calm certainty that felt like home. They met at a local cafe where Aarav played soft melodies on weekends, and Mira listened like every note mattered. She didn't interrupt. She didn't rush. She simply stayed, and in that stillness, something deep inside him softened. Their connection grew slowly, layered with shared silences and late-night conversations about fears they rarely admitted out loud. Mira carried her own scars, the kind that came from trusting too much and being left with nothing but lessons. Aarav, on the other hand, feared invisibility, the idea that he could pour his soul into music and still be unheard. Together they became each other's quiet courage. But love, even when it feels perfect, does not arrive without tests. Aarav's music began to gain attention, small at first, then louder. Opportunities demanded his time, his energy, and pieces of himself he did not know how to protect. Mira supported him, but the distance crept in gently, like a shadow stretching longer each evening. Missed calls turned into unsent messages. Long hugs shortened. They both felt it, yet neither knew how to name it without breaking something fragile. The real fracture came when Aarav was offered a chance that could change everything. A contract that promised exposure, success, and a future he had dreamed of since childhood. It also meant leaving the city, leaving Mira, and stepping into a world that demanded everything. When he told her, his voice trembled, not from excitement, but from fear of the answer. Mira listened, just as she always had. But this time, her silence was heavier. She loved him enough to want his dreams to survive, yet she feared losing herself in the process. Their argument was not loud. It was quiet, filled with words that tried to be kind, but landed sharp anyway. They spoke of timing, of sacrifices, of love being strong, but not always enough. When they finally parted that night, neither slammed a door. They simply walked away, carrying pieces of each other they did not know how to return. The days that followed were hollow. Aarav played shows with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Mira returned to her routines, pretending strength was the same as healing. They both learned that absence has a sound, and it echoes in unexpected moments. For Aarav, it was the silence before a song began. For Mira, it was the empty chair across from her at the cafe. It was during one of those silent nights that the song began to take shape. Aarav sat at his piano, hands hovering, unsure if he was ready to face what lived inside him. He thought of Mira's laugh, her patience, the way she believed in him even when he doubted himself. He realized that in trying to protect his dreams, he had forgotten to protect the love that gave them meaning. The melody flowed, raw and honest, carrying every apology he never said and every truth he had been afraid to admit. When Mira heard the song for the first time, it was by accident. A friend sent her a clip, unaware of its weight. As the music played, Mira felt her defenses crumble. The lyrics were not grand promises or dramatic confessions. They were simple and devastating in their honesty. Aarav was not asking for perfection. He was offering vulnerability. He was offering all of himself. Their reunion was not cinematic. There were no dramatic gestures, no sudden fixes. They met again at the cafe where it all began. Aarav spoke first, his words uneven but sincere. He told her he had learned that love was not something you balanced against your dreams. It was the ground that made standing possible. Mira listened, tears in her eyes, recognizing the courage it took to lay your heart bare after it had already been bruised. They did not promise that everything would be easy. They promised honesty. They promised to choose each other, even when fear tried to speak louder. The challenges did not disappear overnight. Distance still tested them. Doubt still surfaced. But this time, they faced them together, not as obstacles to escape, but as lessons to grow through. As the official music video released, viewers saw more than a love story. They saw two imperfect people learning that real love is not about losing yourself, but about being brave enough to be fully seen. The song resonated because it was not just about romance. It was about surrendering pride, embracing vulnerability, and understanding that giving all of yourself is not weakness, but the deepest form of strength. By the end, the message was clear and quietly powerful. Love does not demand that you shrink your dreams or abandon your fears. It asks that you show up fully, honestly, and without reservation. When you give all of yourself, you do not lose who you are. You finally become it. Wak guzarta gaya, lekin Aarav and Mira dono, kadilek hi lame mainaki. Hear the song release hon ke baad zindagi tezogai. Lekin unke jazba dir chal rahe the Aarav ki lay stage par talion ki awaz tez hodi ya rahiti. Par har performance kabad jab lights band hodi uze surfek chariarata mirakai. वो समझ गया था कि कामयाबी का शोर भी तन्हाई को खामोश नहीं कर सकता। मीरा ने भी अपनी जिंदगी को संभालने की पूरी कोशिश की। वो मुस्कुराती रही, अपने काम में खुद को बिजी रखा, लेकिन और खुशी अधूरी लगती थी। उसे लगता था जैसे इसने खुद को मजबूत बनाने के चक्कर में अपने दिल से युद्ध बोलना सीख लिया हो। वो जानती थी कि एरा बदल रहा है, सीख रहा है, लेकिन डर अभी जिंदा था। डर की फिर से सब कुछ देने के बाद काहिन वो खुद को ना हो दे। एक दिन आराव को एक नया तोहफा मिला इस बार इंटरनेशनल। यह वो मौका था जिसका सपना उसने सालों से देखा था, लेकिन इस दफा एक्साइटमेंट के साथ एक सवाल भी था, क्या वो फिर से वही गलती करेगा? क्या वो फिर अपनी जिंदगी के सबसे अहम रिश्ते को पीछे छोड़ देगा? उस रात उसने पहली बार सक्सेस को सिर्फ एक अचीवमेंट नहीं बल्कि एक जिम्मेदारी के तौर पर देखा। यूजनी मीरा को कॉल की, बिना किसी तैयारी का, बिना किसी स्क्रिप्ट का, सिर्फ साथ के साथ कॉल कनेक्ट होने से पहले उसका दिल जोर से धड़क रहा था। जब मीरा की आवाज आई तो कुछ लम्हों तक दोनों खामोश रहा। फिर आरव ने कहा कि वो भागना नहीं चाहता। वो चाहता है कि जो भी केयर साथ के साथ केयर, उस रिश्ते के साथ केयर जो उसकी रूह को सुकून देता है। मीरा के लिए ये बात आसान नहीं दे। उसने अपने आंसू छुपाए और साफ बोला। उसने कहा कि वो भी स्ट्रांग बनना चाहती है, लेकिन स्ट्रांग रहना का मतलब अकेला रहना नहीं होता। उसने माना कि उसे अब भी डर लगता है, लेकिन उसे इस बात से ज्यादा डर लगता है कि अगर उसने फिर मौका नहीं दिया तो वह जिंदगी भर ये सोचती रहेगी कि शायद इस दफा सब कुछ डिफरेंट होता। दोनों ने फैसला किया कि इस बार डिस्टेंस को अपना दुश्मन नहीं बनाएंगे। वो एक दूसरे से भागने के बजाय साथ चलना सीखेंगे। टाइम कम होगा, मुश्किल होगी, लेकिन वो गुड से बेहतर होगा। आरव टूर पर गया, लेकिन इस बार उसके सॉन्ग्स सिर्फ स्टेज के लिए नहीं थी, वो हर मीरा के लिए भी लिखता था। मीरा ने भी अपनी जिंदगी के ख्वाब दोबारा जीने शुरू किए, बिना इस डर के प्यार उसे कमजोर बना देगा। हर चैलेंज ने उन्हें थोड़ा और मैच्योर, थोड़ा और ऑनेस्ट बना दिया। जब मिलना मुश्किल होता तो बताएं गहरी हो जाती, जब डर उभरता तो यकीन उसे संभाल लेता। धीरे धीरे दोनों ने समझ लिया कि प्यार परफेक्ट होने का नाम नहीं, बल्कि इम्परफेक्ट होट ही भी साथ रहने का फैसला है। चैप्टर 2 यहीं खत्म नहीं होता, बल्कि यहीं से असली सफर शुरू होता है। ये कहानी सिर्फ एक सॉन्ग की नहीं, बल्कि उन दो दिलों की है जो सीख गए कि all उम्मीद न मतलब खुद को खोना नहीं, बल्कि एक बेहतर इंसान बना है। अगर चाहो मेन चैप्टर 3 बल्कि देख सकते हूँ जहान साहब सबादी कसौती अंक का इंतजार कर रही होगी।